Hey guys, what's up? It's Allison and I'm back with another squishy theme video. In this video, it's going to be what exactly are squishies? What are their purpose? What makes one better than the other one? And basically everything that you would want to know about a squishy. And I was inspired to do this video because I actually have a lot of friends that aren't into squishies or don't even know what they are, and they started getting into my videos and they're wanting me to go a little bit more in depth about why I collect them, what makes one better than the other, and everything like that. So I hope you all enjoyed this video and let's get on into it. Okay, so starting off with the basics, squishies are basically memory foam that is painted into different characters, animals, food. There are tons of different styles and varieties, and basically they could be used as stress relief. They could be a collectible because there are quite a few licensed by different squishy companies in Japan. They can also gain value, so for example squishies can become rare, and I will show you one of those in this video today. Now, there are many different types of squishies, and they're also sold in many different types of places for different prices. So I'm going to start with the lowest on the scale and work my way up. So one place you can get squishies at is a place called Wish, and most of you will probably be familiar with this website. Everything's super cheap. It comes from China. It takes a long time to get here, most of the time, depending on where here is for you. But basically they sell really cheap squishies for really cheap prices. This is an example of a Wish squishy. Now, it does have more defects than it did whenever I got it, but I would like to point out that this hole was here, that there was defects already on the squishy, and that this squishy was $1. And if you don't care about it looking pretty and you just want it to be decently squishy, decently solarizing, then I would recommend this. Though just be aware that most of the time, squishies that are sold on Wish are not the same squishy in the picture. Like, you will get a different squishy that's supposed to replicate the picture, and it's just a cheaper version. So be on the lookout for that. Next up, we have places like Walgreens, Target, Walmart even. These places actually carry squishies now. In most places, depending on your area, you would just have to check and see. But brands like Soft and Slow, Smooshy Mooshy, and different brands like that have partnered with Walmart, and now they're creating squishies that come in packaging like this. And they are non-resealable, and real quick, just what non-resealable means is that most people prefer the plastic packaging a squishy comes in to be resealable. So you can open it up, take out the squishy, and then you can put it back in and re-close it because of a sticky lining that is along the inside of the plastic. No Walmart squishy does have resealable packaging, but this is just a very standard Walmart squishy. They also have food ones. And this one is actually a decent squishy, and it was only $5 to $6 depending on which Walmart you go to and your area. So I would definitely recommend these squishies if you're just starting out. Though I will say that these squishies, even though they are pretty squishy, they are more dense. And what that means is that whenever you squish the squishy, they are harder to squish. So most people like to compare it to a stress ball. It is harder to squish. It's not very easy to squish, thus it being a stress ball. This is not a stress ball material, obviously, but it is more dense and harder to squish in than some other squishies. Next on, we go to eBay, and I know that some people are uncomfortable shopping on eBay, but all I can say to you is that I've never actually been scammed on eBay, and that you can actually find licensed squishies on there, meaning that they are made by a specific company or seller, and that they do have a brand stamped onto the squishy itself, and more than likely will have packaging. But eBay also has cheap squishies, similar to what you saw for Wish, only they can be a little bit nicer. So this is a decent example of a typical eBay squishy. It comes in the resealable packaging that has the stickiness so that you can reseal it. And it is very cute. It is actually very soft and very nice to squish. And if you can hear that poof of air, that means that a squishy is airy. Some people like it, some people do not. It just depends on what you like. Moving on, we have Claire's. Claire's actually carries both Claire's squishies, soft and slow squishies, and licensed squishies, all of which are licensed by Sanrio. They will come with tags just like this one. And for example, this is a Hello Kitty donut, but they also have food squishies. You would just have to look, but they're all licensed and they all come with tags similar to this one. And as far as licensing goes, you will notice on a lot of licensed squishies, they have a stamp of the company that they're licensed by. For example, this is Sanrio, and then the date that the squishy was made, like the year. And the reason why they have the year is because some squishies will actually gain face value and become rare and worth more money if they've only made so many, and the year, so that you know if you have the original or first production squishy, first made squishy, or if you have a replica squishy, which would be worth less and made in a more recent year. Now, a lot of people have issues with squishy logic, and basically what I mean by this is you can find a large squishy that does not smell like chemicals, smells very decent, or is very cute, has packaging like this one, which is licensed by Aridi. Aridi just being one of the brands that does actually create real licensed squishies. And you can see that it is very cute, a very decent size, being the size of my hand, and is very, very nicely packaged. But the logic behind squishies is that even though the squishy may be bigger than the squishy I'm about to show you, it is actually less expensive. So if we take a look at this squishy, you can see obviously it's very adorable, but it is smaller. In fact, it is pretty decently smaller than the other squishy. And you would think because of this that this squishy would cost less than this one, but you are actually incorrect. This is squishy logic, unfortunately, because this is licensed by Punimaru, which is a more popular brand from Japan. Basically, think of how a purse can look the exact same as a purse from another store, but if one is a different brand, then it might cost a little bit more. Or the same with shirts. An Aeropostale t-shirt is going to cost more than a Walmart t-shirt. Such is the same with squishies. Even though this one is smaller, it costs about $13, $14, and this one would cost anywhere from $5 to $8. Now, I mentioned earlier about how squishies can become rare, and I just wanted to give an example of that. If you've been in the squishy community at all, or even if you're just starting, you may or may not have already seen this squishy, but it is the iBloom Bread Doll. Now, this is the repro version, which means that they made so many of the first production of them, sold out of them, and then decided, hey, we're gonna make this again, but this time they have different packaging, and the coloring on the squishy itself is a little bit more orange. This squishy is the original iBloom Bread Doll. Now, if you don't know much about squishies, you won't know the relevance of this, but this squishy stopped being made over a year ago and is actually worth much more money than face value. So if you bought this squishy back in the day, whenever it first came out, it would have been probably around $22 to $25 for this squishy, because it is iBloom, another very, very popular brand, and also a typically nicer quality of squishy, meaning that it doesn't defect, aka crack, the paint peels, etc. Now, this squishy is worth somewhere more around the $80 range. But even though this squishy and this squishy look very, very similar, obviously not the same squishy, but very similar, this one would still only be worth around $15 to $18 today, because it is a reproduction. And another thing that we need to talk about is price. Now, price for squishies varies upon each squishy greatly. So you can find the squishy for 50 cents, sometimes a little bit less depending on where you're looking, all the way up to squishies costing $50 for one squishy. Yes, some people may think this is ridiculous, but most people who actually collect squishies view these as an actual collectible, not a toy, not something that's just for children. Obviously, I am far from a child. I am actually almost 22 years old. and I love collecting squishies, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Now I'm just going to go over really quick a few little words just to give definitions to them so you all have a better understanding of what people mean whenever they are talking about a squishy in a video. So I already gave you all the definitions to what a squishy is, what it means whenever a squishy is dense, and what it means when a squishy is airy. Another way to describe a squishy is that it holds those hand crinkles. And that phrase is actually completely due to someone called the Hollycopter, who is very, very popular on here, and I love her so much. Huge inspiration for me and many other squishy YouTubers as well. But basically what it means is whenever you squish a squishy, and you can see where your fingers were, each individual little crevices from your fingers. And the more slow rising or slow to come back to its original shape a squishy is, the better the squishy is, and the better it holds those hand crinkles. Alright guys, I'm sorry that this ended up being a very long video. I'm going to try to edit it as compact as I can, but basically, quick overview. Squishies can become rare if they only make a few of them, they being the company that is making them. They sell them and they sell out very quickly, and they can become rare like any other collectible, which they gain face value and popularity because of this. Squishies can be cheap and expensive. They can come both from online stores such as squishyshop.com, Jenna Lynn Squishies, Bang, and many others. But squishies can be soft, squishies can be dense or harder to squish, but above all, they're collectible, they're adorable, they're really, really fun to have, they're very, very addicting, and they're just all around a great hobby that has a pretty decent following. But with that, I'm going to hurry up and end this video. Again, sorry that it was so long, but I hope you all have every answer to every question that you could have asked. If you don't, feel free to ask questions down in the comment section below or message me. I will be putting my Instagram in the description box down below. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe and hit the bell notification so you get notified whenever I post. I upload at least twice a week, most of the time more. And I can't wait to see you all next time.